Hi, this is Captain Rick Hebdon on a Boeing 737 MAX 8, and you're watching the Get Off Our Lawn podcast with Dave and Dave, the contents of which may or may not reflect the views of my employer.
Take it away, Dave.
Oh, folks, welcome to the Get Off Our Lawn show. But before we start, we need to give thanks to Captain Rick Hebdon, who was kind enough to do the intro for the show, which Bill has not seen yet because we haven't edited the video yet. Captain Rick Hebdon, Air Force veteran. Now he flies airlines in the captain's chair. Former Tops in Blue in 1993 and 94. So thank you, Rick Hebdon. I appreciate the intro for us. So, folks, my name is Dave Jackson. I am sitting here in my man cave in Western PA. Down there in North Carolina, we have the Grand Nagus himself, the original Pompatus of Love, Dave Seymour. Our special guest today is William M. Bosley, a.k.a. The Boz. How you doing, old friend?
I'm doing well, bud. I'm really good. I was glad you guys asked me. This is kind of interesting.
Oh, man.
As you can tell, I'm such a tech person that I was just looking forward to this. So.
Oh, well, there you go. And how many of these videos have you watched?
Oh, a couple.
There you go.
Couple.
Yeah. You know what? I'm a dinosaur, dude. What can I tell you?
A dinosaur. What does that got to do with watching video?
Well, it took my kid 5 or 6 years to get me to get off my flip phone, so I move slow.
Well, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So before we start our usual spiel, I just want to make sure. I know you recently had a procedure. How's everything doing? Are you doing okay now? Is everything?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I don't know if you can see it. I have over here. I have like a AA battery kind of sticking out. That's what it looks like anyway. Yeah, they had to put a shunt in my head. Yeah. I think they were actually looking to make sure I actually had brain cells, but I had hydrocephalus. It was pushing my brain up against the.
What was it again?
It's called hydrocephalus, which is increased pressure on the brain. And when they did an MRI, it kind of looked like all of the gray matter was pushed against the wall. So the guy said, "Well, it's either hydrocephalus or advanced Alzheimer's." Very casual. Yeah. And
so what causes that?
They don't know. It's one of the best medical words in history. It's called idiopathic, which is doctor talk for I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
But yeah, it's going good. They put it in a few weeks ago, and it runs from here down through my neck and down into my gut. And so it'll be there for a while.
Well, it goes from where to where?
It goes from here. I don't know if you can see. They drill a hole here, and it comes around here, goes around your neck, goes down your chest, and then it goes into your abdomen, and that's where the extra fluid gets taken out.
So they run it into your gastro system to eliminate the fluid.
Yeah, exactly right. So I have a slow leak. It'll be great.
Wow.
Yeah, and the guy was, and it was, I had to laugh. He said, "Well, this is minor surgery." And I kept on thinking, minor brain surgery sounds oxymoronic, but
wow.
So far,
I'm glad you're okay. This sounds terrifying to me.
Oh, tell me.
Okay,
well,
man.
Actually, I'm not sure what was more terrifying. Was the guy just being very casual about saying, "Well, you could have Alzheimer's." Mm-hmm. I said, "Well, what's the option? What's the alternative?" And he said, "Well, it's hydrocephalus." I'm like, I vote for that.
Well, I mean, did you feel Alzheimer-ish? I mean, did you?
Yeah. I mean, I was doing stupid stuff, Dave. I was forgetting things a lot, and I was doing really stupid things like I'd lose my credit card or I'd lose my wallet, and it was just, and I was having trouble with light, and I was having trouble with sound. I was like 100 years old.
Oh,
and
wow.
Yeah. So now I'm only 70.
Right. So now they've relieved the pressure and the symptoms go away.
Yeah, exactly. And it was terrifying. It really was. But my wife was wonderful, and my boys were very supportive, and I'm glad it's over.
Yeah, no kidding. Wow. Well, we're glad everything's working out.
Glad you're draining.
I like the idea of having a drain in my body. It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Drain well. Wow. So I'm sure you know the format, how we've done this. We basically asked the folks we've had on the show, the moment we walked off the field to drive with our diplomas, catch us up what happened to Bill Bosley from that point. Of course, you can leave out whatever you want. You can add whatever you want. Just tell us what's happened in your life.
Well, let's see. Since that glorious day on the field, I spent 3 years at Tinker Toy Tech, as we know, TC3.
TC3, okay.
Yeah. I transferred to Cortland State. I was on the 5-year program, so I did about 2.5 years at TC3, graduated in 85 with a biology degree.
Okay.
I thought I was going to go into med school, then looked at my grades and realized that wasn't happening. And then spent 2 years as a burn dairy store clerk and janitor while trying to figure out what I was going to do. I met this wonderful girl, Kate Thompson, who's now my wife, and she got tired of hearing me pissing and moaning, and so she said, "You want to do something in medicine, do something." Yeah. And the only place you could volunteer at Cortland Hospital was as a volunteer in the physical therapy department. And I wheeled my first little old lady into the therapy gym. I'm like, this is what I want to do. And so I was there for a year, got engaged, got married, and went to PT school at Columbia University.
Give me a date line here. Give me some dates here.
Oh, 80 graduation, we know that. 85 college graduation, 89 physical therapy school graduation.
Okay.
87 marriage. 92 son number 1.
Okay.
98 son number 2, who was a God's sense of humor kind of kid. We had a lot of fertility trouble, so we went through all that, and we got our first one, and then we changed insurance, and then it was too expensive. And so we said, we have a great kid, we're fine. One kid's fine. And then my wife shortly thereafter said, I'm feeling nauseous all day. I'm like, we know what that is. So
we know what that is.
Yeah. And I'm a physical therapist. My wife's a Fed, so we kind of act almost like the military did. We went from New York City, where we were going to school, to Maryland, and then down here to Virginia about 26 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I was actually in Seymour's territory a while ago, back in 2011. My youngest son has autism.
Okay.
And we were looking for some kind of program that would help him. And we found this great program down there called Brain Balance. Mm-hmm. And so I went down there for, I guess it was 3 months. I moved down there. My job was Monday through Friday, taking him to class there and then going home. And he's doing really well. So it's been
very nice.
Yeah, it's been good.
Huh.
So
where do you live in Virginia now?
I live in Chesapeake. I'm about 6 miles from the North Carolina border.
They're practically neighbors.
Very good. You're right next to Jeff Markel then.
Yeah, you're right near Jeff.
What's that?
You're next door to Jeff Markel.
I know that, but I haven't seen him. I'm a bad alumnus, is what I am. I actually ran into Pam Bennett in one of my jobs. Also, I'm walking through this hospital at DePaul Medical Center in Norfolk, and all of a sudden I hear somebody screaming, "Boss!" And there's only one Pam Bennett, so that was. It took me a split second to realize who it was, but yeah, it's. And then I think Nancy Brashear lives down here somewhere too.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I think she lives in Virginia Beach.
Actually, I believe she's just about an hour and a half north of me now in North Carolina.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, and I'm a bad alumni because I have not gone up and seen her.
But the thing is, with our rock and roll lifestyles, it's really hard to keep up.
It is. And to find the time to run around and do things, right?
Exactly. And as I know, living when I was near Cary, your traffic sucks.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. I mean, I lived outside of DC, and I thought that was bad, but down there, it's the NASCAR influence. I mean, everyone realizes that you don't have to use your turn signals.
Well, I blame it on people coming from like North Carolina and Raleigh area in particular has gotten like really high reviews for like quality of life stuff.
Right.
We got lots of people moving from California, lots of people from New York, a lot of people from Florida and Chicago, and they're all coming here, and they all have different driving styles. Yeah, and I'll tell you,
I don't think any of them took driver's ed though.
No. Well, Virginia drives me nuts. I'll tell you that right now. The guys in Virginia don't know how to drive either.
Oh, it's so funny. It's like I want to go that way, and that's where they.
Yep.
Wow.
I'm sure they're much better in Pennsylvania though. So.
Well.
Here's
the deal with Pennsylvania. It's got the same topographics as where we grew up in upstate New York.
It's much more hilly.
Huh?
Much more hilly.
What?
Hilly.
Oh, no, it's about the same. I mean, we got the river valleys and the peaks and the mountains and the.
All right.
It's upstate New York, creeks.
Where I live, we have to. The only topography we have is a place called Mount Trashmore, which is a dump, which they covered with grass.
Yeah.
Used to be the town dump, and then they put grass sod on it.
Yep.
My only Chesapeake story I have is when I was stationed at Dover, I got asked to do recruiter duty, and I partially accepted the offer.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, "Where are you going to go?" And they said, "I said, where am I going to go?" And they said, "Well, your assignment's Chesapeake, Virginia." So I got blanched. We got in the car. We immediately drove down to Chesapeake, Virginia to the recruiter's office. And the recruiter's office was closed, and it had bars in front of the windows and the door. And the neighborhood was less than desirable. I mean, it was not. I went back and said, "No, I'm not.
We're done.
We're done with recruiting."
Did you go across the big?
Yeah, the bridge.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did you go across the big bridge across the bay?
So this is we're talking. So now we're talking like 96, maybe. Yeah, I couldn't do it. Couldn't pull the trigger on it.
That's funny. Yeah, there are some sections down here that are kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I guess the best way of putting it.
So now that we're caught up on what's happened to you since then, I need some Bill highlights. Meaning, hobbies,
Well, the best thing that ever happened to me was meeting my girl. We got married in July of '87.
Okay.
When we got engaged, my mother-in-law, she was only about 5 feet tall. She put me against the wall and said, "My daughter's getting her PhD. Do you understand?" I said, "Yes, ma'am." And then we were married for about 4 or 5 years. And then all of a sudden she started saying, "When are the grandchildren going to show up?"
Wow.
She's like, "Well, she's close enough now that I know she'll finish." I've been a PG now for almost 34 years.
4. Wow.
Graduated '89. And
I'm ready to retire.
I'm getting ready to transition to my Walmart greeter job, but not yet.
Okay.
But I love it. I work primarily with geriatrics. I work at assisted living places, and the company I work for is called Fox Rehab, and it's like doing home care therapy, but it's like doing outpatient. So we actually have more flexibility in our times. We see the patient, and it's just a lot of fun. It's like where we grew up. Come on, everyone was old. We thought, right?
Yep.
We thought.
And
we thought.
To me, they're walking history books. I mean, I've treated Holocaust survivors. I've treated people who got off the LSTs in Normandy.
Yeah.
Go to church with people who are Navy SEALs. it's really amazing stuff, and I really love them. They're great.
Yeah.
And
everyone's their own little treasure. Absolutely. Yep.
You know, and I'm really blessed. I think my kids both, they were always around my in-laws, so they have respect for the older folks, and people just don't seem to have that much anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, I would agree with that, sir.
Yep. And now that we're closing in on the geriatrics, it makes me more sensitive to it too. So
yeah, we are at the beginning of the third period of this hockey game. Is where we're that's my analogy.
Yeah, exactly. I remember Danny Stevens called me once, and he was like, I think when I turned 50, he goes, you realize, Bill, that statistically speaking, you've only got about 20 more years on your odometer. I'm like, okay, thanks. I love you too.
Thanks for that, Danny.
Yeah.
That's right. And it was a lot of city miles, right?
Exactly. I feel like I look like a lot of rough road. So.
Yeah. Wow. So what do you got? What do you got for hobbies? What do you do? What does Bill do when he's, chilling out?
Well, actually, what I do mostly, until this happened, my brain, my youngest, his behavioral carrot is roller coasters. And before we found that, I had ridden maybe, just the ones at Busch Gardens, so 5 or 6 rides. And what happens with Gabe is that while everyone else is losing their minds, he chills out. I mean, what they think is that the vestibular stimulation helps him calm down. And we'll be on a ride that goes from 0 to 130. You don't even get out. Oh my God, you get out. Oh. And we're going, and I'm watching him. I'm not really paying attention. And you can just see in his face, he relaxes. His shoulders relax, his face relaxes, he smiles. And since that started, we've been on 125, 130 different rides.
What?
Wow. Yeah, we've been everywhere. We've been to, this thing slowed down our travel plans. We were supposed to go to California this year. But we've gone to North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, Kentucky, New York, Massachusetts. Oh, I can't remember where else. My son could give you a complete list, but yeah. So what we do is, if he's doing well, he does all the planning. I don't do anything. I drive on logistics.
Yeah.
My wife makes the plans for the hotel. She stays home. She's a smart one, and I do the death march.
Okay.
So, and then other than that, I still love watching baseball. I'm a Sox fan, although hasn't been so great lately.
Let me go back there for 1 second. So does your son specialize like in roller coasters or just rides that go really fast?
Oh, we'll go to an amusement park. And we don't care about the crappy things like the shows or that kind of, it's got to have wheels, and it's got to make you take some serious G's.
Okay.
And so
it's roller coasters and other things.
It's all coasters. Yep. And what he does is, when he learns something, he learns it as well as any college professor. He can probably tell you every roller coaster in the United States, the manufacturer, the opening date, the closing date if it's closed, speeds, all the different specifications. And he quizzes me and I fail every time. So, do you remember back in 2016 we did this and this? I'm like, son, I don't remember yesterday. So
yeah.
Now let me ask you a question then. Does he have a favorite roller coaster?
For a long time it was Kinda, which was in New Jersey, I think. That was one of it was the fastest and one of the highest. I think it was like 430 feet, and it used the same propulsion as an aircraft carrier. So you went from 0 to 120 some miles an hour.
Okay.
And I knew I was in trouble when I got on the ride, and there was a sign saying, we calculate the amount of force by the weight of the car. So if we miscalculate and we shoot you up and you don't go all the way up to the top and you come back, don't worry about it. We'll fire you off again.
Yeah.
And
probably good. Yeah.
And that's, I'm like,
if we don't get the F-14 off the deck, we'll bring it back and try it again.
Well, exactly. And I kept thinking, Billy doesn't go backwards. And actually, that's one of the things we've learned over the last couple of years is that I will never be an Apollo astronaut. I can't go backwards on a ride. And there's nothing better than having your autistic son give you a pity party. Like, okay, Dad, can you hold my camera? I'll be back in a few minutes after I ride this one that you suck on. So
you can't go on.
Exactly.
Well, does he have any interest in, since speed is obviously a thing here, does he have interest in fighter aircraft or anything like that?
Nope. No, he's so funny. He gets his niche, and he's there. And when he was real little, it was presidents and presidential houses. He could do 0 to 44. He was like, I mean, he's like an encyclopedia. When you put it in his hard drive, it's there wherever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow.
And we went to Montpelier, James Madison's house, over by Harrisonburg, where my son went to school at James Madison, and he actually gave the docent a tour of the house that she was giving us a tour on. And we were so lucky that, I was mortified because he's like, well, this happened here and this happened here. And she was so nice. And at the end, I pulled her aside to apologize. And she said, I'm a special ed teacher. That's what I did right before I retired. And she said that, and she just loved it. And she was so kind.
Great. That's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Now we just have to find him a useful vocation because he's really good on computers. He's obviously much better than his father, obviously. But so we're trying to get him a job like in data processing or somewhere where we can limit the amount of chit chat because he's not a good chit chat guy.
Right.
How old is he now?
He's 25.
25.
Okay. Yeah. So, and my oldest is 30. He's a teacher of debate down in Florida, near Fort Lauderdale.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where did he go to school?
Where did he go to? He went to James Madison,
Okay.
which is in Harrisonburg, Western Virginia. Then he went to Indiana University and got his master's. And then he kind of fell into this. He's always loved debate. I always said it's great because he loves to argue.
Okay.
And he actually is teaching at a private high school in Florida. He actually teaches from like 6th grade to seniors. And he really likes it. They travel all over the country. And he's getting into his rhythm. This is his 2nd year. The first year was a bear. He when you have to set up your own teaching plans and stuff, it was rough. But he seems to really like it, and he loves his boss. So
nice.
Yeah. But it's Florida. But
yeah. So let's go back in time a bit.
Okay, we can try.
Like a lot. I know I picked you up a few times in the car to go bowling on Saturday morning. I don't remember where in Hartford I picked you up at. Was it the store or was it at your house? I don't remember.
Probably a tenant store because that is the hub of all activity. Although that's been closed a long time now. Yeah. But my house is only about a half mile up the road from there. But yeah, I did a fair amount of hitchhiking to and from bowling back in the day when you didn't get killed all the time.
Yeah. Now, why get picked up at the store instead of the house?
Well, we live in a dodgy neighborhood, so
in Hartford.
In Hartford, yeah, you could get hit by a dog, or a cow might run you over. You never know.
Gotcha.
Snowmobile.
Yeah, in June. Yeah.
So Dave, Bill, and I were on a bowling team together.
Okay.
And it's interesting because it was you, me, Brian, Scott Coates, one of the Coates boys?
I don't think so.
Who was it? Who was the 4th member?
I don't Dave, I don't remember. Hey, look, remember? Brain. Don't know.
I think it was one of the Coates boys.
Okay.
I don't remember if it was Scott. I mean, they're both unfortunately
gone. It might have been Scott. I don't remember. Yeah. I just remember you throwing the wicked hook and having all the gear, and I was more like C pins, throw ball, hit pins.
Yeah, but you had Bill. It's funny because Brian Stout threw a thunderball. I mean, that thing went. I don't think it even touched the wood. He threw so fast. When Bill was learning how to throw, he tried to throw. No, he didn't try. He was throwing hook. It was what we used to call a gentle hook.
A gentle hook.
A baby hook is what you called it.
Marge Pooterbaugh loved you. She absolutely loved you. She thought you were the best thing ever. She kept saying to me, because she was kind of like my bowling coach, and she kept telling me, help Bill. Help Bill.
Well, she knew I needed help, that's all.
Well, she saw something in you. She saw something in you. That's the reason why.
That's
you always want to be better at it. You had a drive for it. You just want to be better at it. You didn't like not performing well in bowling. You just had a thing for it.
Well, the funniest part is the first couple of years we bowled, I had no idea. I didn't know about the lines. I didn't know about the arrows. I just threw them at the pins. When I learned about the arrows and stuff, I got really bad for about 6 months. So
figuring out where the arrows were.
Exactly, and knowing what to do. Curve. Yeah, but David would throw these things that would go about 75 feet down, and the last 5 feet would go 90 degrees.
Those were the days.
Those were the days, huh?
Yeah.
You still got the responsibility and a lot of fun. That's what it was.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
This all took place at Viking Lanes, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Formerly, no longer existing Viking Lanes.
Yep.
That's so sad.
No, it's very sad. Very sad. No, so that was the place to go. I mean, since I wasn't a jock per se, that bowling was my thing.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't much of a jock either. I always considered myself more like a Switzerland. I was accepted by some of the jocks, and I got along with. Well, I lived in Hartford, so I got along with some of the farmers and the hoods.
Yeah.
But I didn't do anything well, so that worked out well,
Well, I did a little bit of track, but I never made the baseball team. I didn't want to play football. I was complete shit at basketball, so I didn't. So bowling became my thing. That became my venue to go to be good at. So.
Bowling and base.
Yeah, bowling a little bit of base. But that's because of that guy right there. So.
It's his fault. Exactly.
It's bass fishing, right?
Yeah, and bass fishing. Yeah.
Really? That's so funny. I'm like the black sheep of my family. I come from a long line of hunters and trappers and fishermen.
Yeah.
And my idea of hunting for chicken is going to the meat section of the grocery store.
Yeah, you weren't a typical Hartford kid then.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I was kind of I wasn't good at football. I wasn't really good at being a hood, so I just kind of fell in the cracks.
Yeah.
We had fun. I mean, we had Draghi. I mean, Danny was the one Stevens was the one who was a natural athlete for everything. Yeah. John was the smart ass, and I was kind of I was the helper.
Yeah. Well, that's a fair statement. I like that. That's a fair statement, Bill.
Yeah. And then do you remember Cliff Hebdon?
Yes.
Of course.
He was my first roommate after we got out of high school, and he was the one that took me to a biker bar in Cortland right after we graduated from high school. And I had a pocket full of money from my graduating party. And at the end of the evening, which I don't remember, I had less money in my pocket. And the last thing I remember doing was I was playing Space Invaders, and I didn't see the need to move side to side. I just kept on shooting until they hit me, and then I fell off my stool. And that was 1980, and that was the last time I had more than 2 drinks.
Didn't you? If I remember right, you had an apartment on 13 across the trailer park.
Yep, sure did.
I remember I went there a couple times, and I remember Dave will appreciate this. We had the Kiss Unmasked album night.
Did Bill host?
Bill hosted. Yes, Bill hosted.
Well, again, my rock and roll lifestyle comes back to haunt me.
Yes. I remember that. But who was your roommate there?
It was just me and Cliff.
Just you and Cliff.
Yep. And then, I guess he dropped out of TC3. Then we just kind of lost touch. But it was a great apartment. It's one of those things that you look back and you don't realize how good you had it.
Mm-hmm.
We had nothing. We had crap furniture, and we ate a lot of macaroni and cheese, but it was great.
Yeah. No, I remember going there and having a great time, just hanging out, listening to music, being silly. Yeah.
And that was the trailer park that was at the bottom of the hill at TC3?
No, this is towards Ithaca.
Yeah. It's halfway between Dryden and Ithaca.
Correct. And the trailer park was on the right-hand side.
In Etna?
Near Etna, right. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was really the entrance to it was off of 13.
Right, exactly. You had to go up Mount Olympus. It was fun. In the winter, it was great.
Yep. Wow.
Gotcha.
So back in high school,
Mm-hmm.
I went through some books. You weren't in were you in any activities I missed before senior year?
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that after I sent you a list. I was actually the president of the National Honor Society my senior year. And I got
Wait
that
a
because
second.
nobody else wanted to be
The president
of the National Honor Society. Even Arlette Smith didn't want to be the president. I think that was because I was a member of the National Honor Society, and that made it less attractive.
Oh, okay, hang on, I gotta look at this now. Maybe I missed it.
I probably didn't show up for the picture.
Yeah, I didn't see you. I guess maybe you didn't. I don't know. I'll look. I'll look later.
Yeah. I really was a member of the National Honor Society, I promise.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
that means you were an okay student, right?
I consider myself I always joke with my wife. She's one of those overachievers. I mean, when we went to Cortland State, you could have an A+ average, and she was like a 4.3, and she graduated magna cum laude. I graduated magna cum laude.
I'm lucky, yeah.
I was fortunately I got really lucky. My grades were good enough to get me into PT school, and I think they were looking for the maybe the hick upstate New York kind of Jethro demographic for the PT school that year.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, you had the build of kind of a football player kind of guy, right? You had the build to do PT, right?
Well, actually, it's funny, Dave. When I graduated to my wedding, I was only like 160 pounds. I was skinny, and then my wife was a sous chef up in the Catskills, and I was stressed out from PT school, so I gained about 60 pounds in the course of a year. So then I went from skinny guy to Santa Claus.
Okay,
and then actually I was able to redistribute into a more human-looking physique.
Dave, do you have that picture I sent you? Can you show that picture?
I do. Are we talking about the physique picture?
Yeah, the physique picture, yes.
Oh, I'm afraid. I am so afraid.
You've seen it before.
Oh, we're at the park or something, right?
We're at my house, my backyard.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Look at that now. I mean, does that just reek of sexiness?
It does.
Helmet hair, big nose, and no abs. Do you see that? I had one ab. It was terrible.
One ab?
One ab.
That was July 25th. That was July 25th, 1980, in my backyard.
Is that right? Wow. That was
at my going away party.
That was at your
right. You were heading out to
Yep.
The skies. Yeah.
It was a birthday / going away party, and everybody.
That's so funny. Wow. I have B cups now.
Nice. Congratulations. With the prop, you can get things done nowadays.
Yeah. Sometimes I feel like I look like I'm a early, maybe late first trimester, early second. Okay. But
so you were going to TC the same time Dave was then?
I guess.
I was at TC3 right after the fall after, so 82. So I graduated 82.
Okay. Yeah, I started in 1980, and I went through I did 2 full years and then a summer, and I transferred over to Cortland.
There you go. Yep. Yeah. Nice.
So you went from right to school back to school.
Well, I took 2 years off between TC. Well, I went to TC3, then Cortland, got my degree in 85, and realized I didn't have the grades for medical school. I didn't, or the money, obviously. And so I held a 1-year pity party for myself and worked at a burn dairy, and I worked as a janitor at a bank, and was really bemoaning my fate. I was able to land my girlfriend.
Yeah,
was getting her master's at Cornell, and she knew I wanted to do something to help people, and I wanted to be in medicine somewhere. And she was the one that said, stop moaning and groaning, go to the Cortland Hospital, find out what you can do. Yeah. So, I owe a lot to her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this, on an interesting serious note, then we're going to talk about high school a little bit more. On a serious note, so I've been married almost 41. Dave, you're what, 39?
Yes.
Careful. Okay.
Yeah,
Will, you got how many years in now?
Well, we got married in '84, so it's 39 this fall.
Okay,
we'll be 36 this year.
So, what do you attribute your success? The reason I'm asking, Bill, is because customers in my car, when we talk about when I get a lot of people getting ready to get married, I take a lot of people to weddings, and they always ask me, "Well, what's the secret?" Blah blah blah. And I have my stock answer. What is your stock answer for your marriage success?
That's a good question. Well, it sounds trite, but I married my best friend. She's the smartest person I've ever met, and she's the nicest person I've ever known. And she puts up with a lot of crap. And so, I guess the secret of our marriage is that she's a very patient person.
So you're saying it's all her?
Yeah, I would say 99%.
Okay.
I don't contribute nothing to this, right?
Well, I think what's the phrase I'm looking for?
Oh, yes, you are. You're not off the hook, young man.
No. I think what's wonderful about my wife is that she lets me think that I'm in charge sometimes, and it sounds good.
You make you think it's your idea.
Exactly. Because as you know, as we all know, that men are born stupid, and we don't get any smarter as we get older. Yeah. So I was raised by women. So, but yeah, it's just she's a great girl, and she's put up with me, and she has 3 boys. She has to raise 3. I only had to do 2.
Yeah. All right, that's fair. What about you, Dave?
Yeah, Dave.
What about me?
What's the success behind your marriage after all these years?
Oh my gosh.
You married a smart girl.
I married a smart girl.
There you go.
And no leading the witness here, Bill.
I would argue that she's probably one of the most compassionate people I've met.
Oh, that's a fair statement right there. That's a fair statement right there.
She feels for everybody else, and she puts up with a lot of my stuff. And, but it goes both ways, right?
Yeah.
Because you have to put up with your doesn't matter which angle you're coming at. One of your partners has to put up with the other partner, right?
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Yeah, there you go. I mean, I think it's wonderful when you find somebody that accepts you for exactly who you are.
Accepts you and doesn't try to change you too much.
Yeah.
Except in the 80s, I think we went a little bit over on the alligator things. Those little those Izod things, right?
Izod.
You need chinos and a sweater. After she figured out that I was just going to wear holes and all that stuff.
Well, do you remember back in high school where you had to wear the alligator shirt underneath the button down if you were going to be cool?
I was never that cool.
No.
Yeah. Oh, I remember Matze and all those guys. Everett, they all wore that. So I did it from like the Kmart end of the world, and I didn't do it consistently, but I tried.
The biggest fashion statements I remember was a jean jacket, and you had to wear like a hoodie underneath a jean jacket. That was a big thing.
Yeah.
Well, I saw some pictures the other day with they were leather jackets with a lamb's wool fleece collar.
Like bomber jackets, right?
Yeah, it was like a bomber jacket.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I had the jean jacket, but I wasn't cool enough for the hoodie. So
Did you ever go through the roller skating phase, Bill?
Oh yeah, actually, yeah. That was Hebdon's fault too. He was really good at it. I was how shall I say this? Bad, very, very, very bad. I mean, I would be the guy holding onto the wall as you try to go around, do 1 or 2 laps, and find the snack bar.
This number.
Oh Jesus, it was sad. I mean, I'm sure I was really attractive to most of the teenage girls there.
Yeah.
If it was for pity, maybe, if nothing else.
Now, did you ever skate at the Dryden Elementary School? Because they didn't have them at the high school, right?
Skating parties at the elementary school.
Skate parties at the elementary. And then in high school, we used to go up to Ides, right?
Ides.
Yeah.
Up behind Cornell.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't do that consistently because I would get horrible shin splints every time I went because I was trying to dig holes with my feet. And I would, I would be the guy holding onto the wall as you try to go around, do 1 or 2 laps, and find the snack bar. Oh Jesus, it was sad. I mean, I'm sure I was really attractive to most of the teenage girls there.
Now, did you ever skate at the Dryden Elementary School? Because they didn't have them at the high school, right?
Yeah. I didn't do that consistently because I would get horrible shin splints every time I went because I was trying to dig holes with my feet. try to hold on to the ground. It didn't work though.
I think we played a lot of air guitar skating around to Ides.
Oh, heck yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, I could play it from the seated position when I hit the floor.
When you were on the floor, you played the air.
Exactly. I would just make it look like I planned it, you know?
Right. That's great. So who in school, what we always ask everybody, or we try to always ask everybody, who in school, what teachers did you think influenced you the most, or you just thought were the most awesome?
Strug was great.
Mm-hmm.
Did you actually have him for a teacher?
Yeah, I think actually I did. Cosmo Vieni scared the crap out of me.
Yep.
Who was the guy who taught it? Was geometry teacher?
Stan Hugo.
He was eligible,
or Danny Stiles.
Oh yeah, Styles.
Mr. Styles. That's what. Yeah.
That's the Styles. Yeah.
Actually, and I like Mr. Stefano. I mean, he was, and who was the vice principal when
Sam
we were
Cooper.
there?
Sam Cooper.
Yeah, he actually caught Cliff and I coming back from lunch. We had snuck out for lunch, and he was actually
criminal.
Was that?
You common criminal.
Exactly. But I thought I was like being a badass, and he just like, the funny part is he was so cool. He's like, guys, just get back to class. He just didn't even get his blood pressure up. He just looked at us like, come on, guys, knock off the crap. Let's go.
Now, where did you sneak off to go for lunch?
Oh, there used to be on the corner when you went down past the high school, there was a deli shop. I can't remember what it was. It was just a convenience store. And I would get a ham and cheese sub every time I went. And I don't know why. It was such a boring order, but I thought I was like, you know, I was a badass. I got my ham and cheese sub and my Pepsi Cola. I was grooving.
That's right. And you were out of
the one right on the corner, the Busy Bee?
Yes, the Busy Bee. That's right. That's what it was.
Busy
Yeah.
Bee. Good job, Dave.
Yeah.
Busy Bee.
We used to go there for their quart-size milkshakes.
Yes.
Remember the monsters?
Well, the Tasty Treat had the quart-size milkshake. Wasn't it the Tasty Treat had the quart-size milkshakes?
Oh, you're right. The Tasty Treat next door.
They were called Monster Milkshakes.
Yep, Monster Milkshake. Yep.
Loved them. Mm-mm.
We would bike over from Freeville for the Tasty Treat and drink a Monster Milkshake and bike back.
Right back. I would stop at the Tasty Treat, drink a Monster Milkshake, then ride to Freeville.
Yeah, you might have to stop along the way.
Yeah.
That goes to the intestinal fortitude of young men, I think.
Well, exactly. Well, the stuff that we did when we were younger, it's amazing we made it to adulthood. I mean, we were just so stupid, you know?
So tell us some of those stupid things, Bill.
Oh, it's just hitchhiking to bowling. Yeah, I remember I did a lot of hitchhiking because I didn't get my license until I was.
And that was a Saturday morning you were hitchhiking.
Yes. So you would get those, you know, the post bar people. That was always fun.
Yeah.
But it was. I didn't do a lot of stupid stuff. I did, you know, just sneak out. Didn't do a lot of drinking either, which was probably for the best. But
Yeah, because I don't recall you getting in any sort of trouble. I mean, you were literally one of the guys from Hartford that my memory was the least troublemaker or to worry about was you.
Well, thank you. Well, I think I was always afraid to get the crap kicked out of me. I was not. I just like, you know, getting along with people. I still do. I mean, that's what I like about my job is that you know I'm kind of a cheerleader with my patients, or my wife calls it game show Bill.
Yep.
I'll get some 90-year-old lady with a hip fracture. I'm like, hi, my name is Bill. I'm your therapist. We are going to get better, and we're going to get better today. Let's go.
Let's take a lap.
Exactly. Exactly. And then the funny part, you know, I use they say that men have 10,000 words a day. I use 9,990 at work. I get home and my wife says, how was your day? I say, well, it was good.
Good.
And she works with all men, so she's ready to go.
Yeah. Wow.
Now, let me ask you a question. Do you have any brothers and sisters? Because I have no idea.
I had 3 brothers. One of them's passed away. And I have 3 sisters.
How do I not know that?
Yeah. Well, that's because the gap is so enormous, Dave, that I always said that I was what they call in baseball an error. My mom was going on 41 when she had. I'm 61. I have a sister who's in her early 80s, and I have who dropped out.
No, I'm here.
Okay. And
You're just in awe.
Brothers that are in the 80s.
I'm struck.
We went blank, guys.
I'm here. We're here.
That's
We're
a different
good.
problem then.
Yeah, different problem. We're good.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm the last of 7. And
last of 7?
I was actually, when I was in middle school, I was such a truant. I didn't like going to school. I thought that the folks in the Newark Valley system didn't like me, so I would skip school and I would go in to take the test and pass the test, but the teachers didn't like that. So I had to change schools, and I moved in with my brother Pat and his wife Evie, and I lived with them for 6 years. And and you know, the funny part, my sister-in-law, she's my hero. She and my brother got divorced the summer before my senior year.
Mm-hmm.
And I lived with my ex-sister-in-law so that I could finish school.
So you stay in the Dryden system?
I had no idea.
Yeah. And so, she was a hero to me. She didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
And it meant a lot to me. And I think her kindness, I think, I've tried to have it rub off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm like, I'm the baby of the family at 61.
There you go.
Wow. I had no idea, man. Wow.
Nope. Neither did I.
Huh.
Well, I live a very reclusive lifestyle, And like I said, I didn't realize, I was so dumb as a kid. I don't think I realized that they were my brothers and sisters for a while when I was a kid, because everyone looked like my parents. So my sister was pregnant with her oldest son the same time my mom was pregnant with me. So,
So there's like 20 years between you and your next sibling.
Yep. 22, 23. Yeah. Yeah. My next youngest sibling is I think 5 or 6 years older than I am.
Well, there's 17 years between Blanche and her next sister, and there's 23 years between her oldest sister.
Yeah, it's funny because I honestly didn't realize for a long time that these were siblings. I thought they were like, aunts or uncles because they had their own families when I was growing up.
Yeah.
So.
Wow.
Wow.
Interesting.
So, back in high school, I remember not so much the senior lounge hanging out with you, although I remember that happening a few times. But I remember when you reminded me when you were playing football that so I used to go to the football games all the time. It wasn't necessarily to watch football. It was typically to talk with girls. But I started looking back and thinking about when you were playing football. I went back to look at the junior picture, and I was like, I can't even remember you being a jock, but there you were playing football. I mean, you look pretty, like Dave was saying before, you looked pretty stout back then, man. You look like you were ready to rumble.
Well, the funny part, they gave us really big shoulder pads. Because I was 150 pounds, and I was the center on the team, one of the centers on the team.
You were the center?
Yes, I was the center. It was yes. One of the funniest memories I have is that when we were playing JV, the varsity would use the JVs as punching bags, and so I remember one time we're practicing, and Dean Winters was the quarterback for the varsity. He's also the safety, and what he would do is he was practicing his safety blitz. And what he would do is he'd be back about 20 yards and he would run forward. And back in the day, you could have stainless steel covered with rubber underneath your wristbands for a little extra push. And I'm standing over the ball and I'm getting ready to snap it. I see Dave coming. I can't come. Or Dean coming. I can't move. And he got me right in the face mask and knocked me on my butt. And the first time it happened, everything was fine. The second time it happened, the coach was playing quarterback and he caught me. And I had probably a concussion.
Wow.
That was back in the day. It's like, you all right? Yeah, I'm all right. Okay, good. Go back to
good. How many fingers am I holding up, right?
Exactly. He didn't even bother. It was Coach Foote. I don't think he could count that high anyway. But, yeah, it was funny.
Wow. Why didn't you play during the senior year?
It's funny. I trained a lot, And I went to the first couple weeks of practice, and it just was like, I actually wanted to be. I worked really hard that summer. I wanted to be quarterback because I worked with Danny a lot. We did all kinds of passing drills and stuff. And I showed up to practice and said, I want to be quarterback. So he said, you're a center. Go over there. And that was that.
Wow.
So I wouldn't have been a good quarterback either because I think I would have been more afraid of dying. But so it just didn't do it for me. I decided to hang up the cleats.
Yeah. I would think that would wear on you being a center and being 160 pounds.
Oh, I just remember crazy. I remember one guy, I can't remember who the team was. I was opposite of like a 300-pound defensive lineman.
Yeah.
I'm sure I looked like that scene from The Blind Side. It was probably just like, just lie down. Just get out of the way.
Just get out of the way.
Just move aside.
Yep.
That's crazy.
I think I blocked it by tripping him. That's basically what I did.
Wow.
Yep. I can understand that.
So what else in school? I always thought you were, and I still think you obviously are, I always thought you were a brilliant student. What did you major? I mean, we all kind of had a semi-major in school. What did you focus on in school?
I was a math science major. I think I was more biology. I wasn't good at math at all. I mean, I liked biology. I liked sciences.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it. I liked English. I really I loved reading, and I wasn't good at creative writing, but I liked the English class. But I was mostly a science guy. I took enough math that I could say that I was a math major, sort of, but not really in high school. I was terrible at it in college.
Well, you took all the Regents classes, right, or whatever.
Exactly, of course, exactly.
Yeah, I took all the minimum Regents classes. I just took the minimum to get that degree, to get that Regents diploma.
Yeah. Well, nowadays it's so funny with our kids. My oldest, he was fortunate. He took after his mother, who was really, really smart. And down here, at least, they had all the AP classes, which we didn't have growing up. But the pressure on these guys is so high.
Yeah.
And it's like you have a 16-year-old kid with an ulcer. I just don't get it.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't believe what they're asking kids to learn and when they learn it these days. And
exactly.
Some of the techniques don't make no sense to me.
Right. You need to be able to be a kid. I just don't understand.
Yep.
Yeah. We're struggling with that with our grandkids. That whole aspect of it right there.
Yeah.
Exactly what you guys just described.
Yeah.
I have to tell you, Jackson, that I love looking at the picture of your grandkids because they are mini me's of you. I mean, it's just they have your eyes and they have the same devil in their eyes that I remember you having. I just look at
crazy.
They're going, watch this. Hold my beer, Gramps. Hold my beer.
Yeah. That's right. Pull my finger.
Exactly.
Well, we got one that's in ROTC now. The eldest, Adriana, is in ROTC.
Uh-huh.
Devin is just a typical 10th grade teenage boy.
Yeah.
So,
I'm sorry.
That's all I got for him right now.
So, is Adriana driving yet?
No, next year.
Oh.
Yeah, next year.
Well, it's funny. Our youngest, we had him. They have a facility in Western Virginia called the Wilson Center, and it's for kids with intellectual and physical disabilities. And we just decided he went there to learn because they have the vehicles with the extra brake and everything on the side of the car. And he did really well, but it's funny, now he drives like an 80-year-old lady. Which is good because down here everyone else drives like they're in the last lap of the Daytona.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Who was your driver's ed teacher in high school?
Shellhammer, I think.
Oh, Gary Shellhammer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm sure I traumatized him.
Probably.
Did you say you got your license late?
I didn't get my license until the spring of my senior year.
Okay. And why did it take that long?
Because my sister-in-law, who I was living with, said, we're not adding you to the insurance policy.
Right.
Smart girl.
You can be on a permit, but you can't be on
exactly right.
Yeah. Wow. I don't think You know what? I'm having a really hard time remembering if I got my license on my junior year or my senior. I want to say it was my senior year. I don't remember.
All I knew is that there was no way in hell I was going to save enough money to buy a car, so I didn't really need a car.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah,
I just remember going to Hartford and picking you up once in a while for bowling after I got my license.
You know, somebody's got to be responsible, Dave.
Yeah, that's all I remember. Huh.
There you go.
Dave, when were you driving?
So you in New York, you get your permit when you're 16.
Mm-hmm.
So I got it right away. And then took driver ed the following summer.
Mm-hmm.
And when you turned 17, you could get your day license. So I had my day license in October of that year, whatever year that was. So that had to be junior year.
Okay, wow.
So I had it almost the whole year for junior year.
I keep forgetting you're much older than us.
Many years.
That's harsh.
That's harsh.
But true. Dave outranks us, Bill.
I got your back, Dave. Don't worry about it.
That's all right. I had a late start.
Well, some of us are just late bloomers, that's all.
Oh, yeah. There you go, Dave.
I think it had something to do with my bloomers. I don't know, but
never mind.
I knew you were going to say that.
You knew I was going to say
yeah.
We cheat them right up.
That's right.
So, Bill, who were you hanging out with in high school?
So Dan Stevens. He is my best friend. He's actually I think he has his PhD in nuclear engineering, I think now.
Where's he at?
I'm not sure if he's actually using it. He's actually in central New York, someplace up between is up by Oneonta someplace.
Mm-hmm.
And John Draghi, he was my pal.
Uh-huh.
He's an attorney up in
New Hampshire.
New Hampshire, right? Exactly. He went to Franklin Pierce Law School.
Did anybody see that coming? By the way, did you see that coming?
Well,
did you see that coming? That John Draghi was going to be a lawyer?
Oh, I don't think he was.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
I think he was the DA.
Well, he was. Well, it's funny. I remember when he first got his degree. He was a prosecutor in the juvenile system.
Okay.
And I remember him telling me once that, and if you remember, John he had a widow's peak at like 15, and so by the time he got to law school, he pretty much just started shaving his head. And John, love him to death, but he has like a Klingon head.
Yeah.
He's got like this crust, and he grew this goatee, and he always said that like he would be sitting at the prosecutor table, and a big kid would come in all tough, and he'd look over, and Satan would be sitting in the prosecution chair, and sometimes the kids would just start to cry.
But I mean, in high school, did he talk about being a lawyer? I don't remember.
I think so. I think he always aimed high. I think, but it's funny. He has kind of like he was talking about late bloomers. He took some time off between college and law school because he didn't know what to do. I think, and he was a roofer for a while. He was a construction guy, but yeah, he's doing really well. He's gone over to the dark side now. I think he's a defense attorney, but he's doing really well. He has a wonderful family up there. He's not married or anything, but and Danny had 6 kids in like 10 or 11 years.
Wow.
Yeah. I tried to tell them that they know what causes that, but
we figured it out. Took care of that.
Yeah.
Well, we just decided I couldn't afford 6, and I didn't want 6, but he's those are basically those, and then Mark Holslander, he was a year or 2 behind me. But yeah, we basically just our little. I had my bowling buddies, and then I had basically it was Danny and John. We were the hoods of the Hartford community.
Okay. Right.
And so we kind of hung tight together.
So tell me one story that you guys did together.
Well, let's see.
There's got to be at least one memorable event.
Well, I could. picture it. Dryden, New York,
Okay.
1980. Just graduated from high school. Just got out of my graduation party. Pocket full of cash. Cliff's got the car. He's the designated driver. We go to a biker bar in Cortland, New York. I drink 11 double screwdrivers in the course of about an hour and a half.
Wait, did you say 11?
Yes. The other reason I remember that is that Cliff pointed that out to me when he saw me the next day. That was where I got the Space Invaders not moving anywhere and not falling off. And then apparently Cliff helped me leave the bar when I walked up to the bar, and there was a pretty girl sitting there, and I was talking to her, and I didn't notice the boyfriend on the other side. And so
at the biker bar, right?
Cliff escorted me out of the bar, and the next day when he came to check on me, I saw my sneaker prints on the inside of his windshield. I had broken his 8-track tape player. And the best part is the next day, Danny and I walked back to my house, and it was a nice, cool summer night, and we got into the house, and the last thing I remember was getting nauseous. And I lived in a trailer, so I ping-ponged all the way down the hallway, made it to the bathroom, and then I don't remember anything. The next morning, I woke up upside down in my bed, and I had to play in a church softball game later that day.
How did it go?
My sister-in-law never said a thing until like 10 or 15 years later. She goes, "Yeah, you were pretty messed up." I'm like, "Thank you." And that's when I decided that
yes.
Yeah, drinking was not my forte.
Your forte, yep.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, of course, Danny was fine. He's one of those guys that he always cracked me up that if he wanted, when we were playing football, I think our junior year, he decided he wanted to see if he could run a marathon. So on Saturday was the marathon. Monday was football practice. He didn't bother to ask the coach whether or not he could do it. So he ran 26 miles and came to practice on Monday like nothing happened.
What?
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
was he hanging out with Kenny Johnson or something? I mean, good Lord.
Yes, exactly right. And that was the thing. Danny, no matter what he did, it's like if he wanted to be a runner, he was really good at it. If he wanted to be, he was a bodybuilder for a while after graduating high school. And his biggest problem is he didn't do the juice. So he was freaky, but he wasn't freaky enough to compete.
Right. Not freaky enough to compete. I love that.
I went to one of his competitions, and he was at one point. He's one of those guys. He was like 170 pounds, and he started working out. He went up to like 220 or something, and he was cut. But then I was talking to him, and people walked by, and they had striations where they didn't have muscles. You know what I mean? It was like they were just freakish. But
wow.
It's whether or not you still want a liver that works, or
Yeah.
I know. Crazy times, Dave. Crazy times.
Crazy times. Let's see. So just out of curiosity here, now that you've got some reflectiveness on your life, what kind of advice would you give yourself from now back to like somebody in high school?
Oh, that's interesting.
To yourself in high school, maybe.
Yeah. I guess I wish I'd been more outgoing. I mean, with like Jackson, and with you too, Dave. It's like, I mean, we could goof around and stuff, but I was always so afraid of embarrassing myself that, especially like with girls, that was a horrible time anyway. But I just find now it's like when we go to our reunions and stuff, it's so much easier now. I don't have to impress anybody anymore. I figure this is what I am. I don't care. If you like me, that's swell. If you don't like me, have a nice day.
Yep.
And to me, it's just one of those things that I think I wish I'd gotten out more and actually interacted more. Not that I was trying to date women, because that wouldn't have happened, but just to hang out more. And just, I like to think that we're all pretty kind, and I like to think we're still kind. But I'm sure I was a jerk when I was in high school, at least at some point.
I don't remember that at all.
Well, I think, well, you're getting older, Dave, and sometimes the gray cells are the first things that go. Just saying.
Well, my memories of you in high school are just a really well-rounded, always wanted to be the best that you could be guy. I never.
Yeah. Thanks, Dave.
A troublemaker. I never saw you as a troublemaker from Hartford. I didn't see you as the guy that went to a dance and acted like an asshole or anything like that. I just always saw you as.
Well, thank you. I that's the thing. It's funny looking back because I think I was probably way too afraid to embarrass myself to do anything outlandish. One of the things I always joke with my wife is that when I was in college at Cortland State, I went to class and I went to work. I didn't have any time on campus until she was. The day I met my wife, she was roommates with a biology major. We were science majors at a PE school. And the one time I actually made an effort to talk to anybody, I saw my friend Linda talking to this really pretty girl near one of the buildings. So I kind of did a U-turn and introduced myself. But I didn't make an effort to try to get around and talk to people. And now that's what I do every day. I mean, I meet new people every day, and I have to talk. And so I think I would have wished I'd practiced more.
Yep.
Did you date anybody in high school?
I dated Sherri Case.
Okay.
In 9th or 10th grade. I actually dated Arlette Smith for about 15 minutes until she realized that I was a hick from Harvard, and that didn't work well at all.
What'd you do? Drop the H word on her?
Yes, exactly. Well, I just remember I had dinner at her house once, and I don't know if you remember Arlette back then, but her parents were even stiffer than she was.
Uh-huh.
And I was so scared. We were sitting at the dinner table, and I somehow was able to hit my fork and make it go about 25 feet away from the dining room table. It was, looking back at it now, absolutely brilliant. At the moment, I wish I could have pulled up the floor and gone underneath. But looking back at it, I crack myself up every time I think of that. They did not laugh, Dave.
Now, it wasn't like half an onion on a plate, right?
Oh, no. This is kind of one of those things like you do it as a prank. You don't pay attention. You hit the thing on the edge of the table. And it kind of
just had to verify that, right?
Yeah. It's just in slow motion. You're going, I'm an ass. I'm an ass. I'm an ass.
So Sherri Case and Arlette. Anybody else?
Not really. I actually remember. I don't remember. We were on a travel team when we were bowling. And there was a girl named Laura Lee Dickow. What a great name, right? She was on I think the Lansing traveling team. I think that's where.
What was her last name?
Her name was Laura Lee Dickow. Dickout. What a great name, right? And stop.
Dave's having a hard time believing this.
I can't believe that.
Oh, it was. This is a great story.
Especially the men's bowling team, right?
This was co-ed. It was fine. But the funny part is that she asked me to go to the prom with her because her boyfriend was working, and she needed somebody to go with her. And I'm like, oh, she was really pretty, but it didn't work out very well.
Bill's like, can I fling my fork?
What's that?
So Bill's like, can I fling my fork if we go out?
Oh, it was better than the fork flick, but not much better.
The fork flick.
That traveling team was a good time.
It was. It really was. It really was.
Now, those are uneducated in these things. Where did the travel team go?
We basically went to other bowling alleys and bowled against other teams.
Wow. Did you go to New Zealand and bowl?
No, Ives Lanes, Court Lanes, Homer Lanes.
Hey, we traveled like 30 miles, man.
Yeah, easily.
This wasn't. You remember where we lived, right? We didn't go to Alaska.
That's what I meant.
To Ithaca. That was a trip.
Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, we did a lot of bowling in Ithaca, I think.
We did a lot of bowling in Ithaca.
Yeah.
Yep.
And think about back in the day, Ithaca was a trip.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ithaca was a trip.
Syracuse was a journey.
It's just so funny nowadays. It's like I think it's like, oh, it's 2 hours. Okay, that's fine. Back then, it's like, we're going to go to Ithaca, pack a lunch.
Yeah. We'll stop at the airport and grab something to eat.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, did Ithaca have more than one bowling alley?
Yes.
Where are the other ones?
So Ides, and then there was the one down on Elmira Road. I can't remember the name of the lanes though. Right, Bill? Elmira?
Yeah, but you had to go. Yeah, you had down towards what was it? Saganic Falls or no, Buttermilk Falls. You had to go way down.
Yeah.
Through town. Yeah.
Cortland is the one that had like 50 lanes. Cortland had 3 sets of lanes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Okay.
Homer lanes. That was fun.
Yeah, another huge metropolitan area.
Yes. Yeah. Troy had lanes. I remember we went to Troy.
All right.
I don't remember going that far.
Do you have any pets, Bill?
No. Nope.
On purpose?
Yes. Well, actually, quite honestly, a lot of it was when we were younger, graduate school was just not a time to have it. And then with our kids, Jacob was kind of afraid of dogs. And then Gabe just took up so much of our time that we joke that all of our animals have, they have gun tags or whatever. We get them. Your dog gets dirty, you throw it in the washing machine. Now I love animals, and we have neighbors who we can. I kind of like rent a pet, but
you get to babysit in a
exactly. Actually, this coming Friday, I have my across the street neighbor. She sadly passed away a few years ago from pancreatic cancer, but she had a Shih Tzu, and we developed a serious bromance while she was sick. He would come over here and we'd play a lot. And now he's like us. He's like 7 or 8 years old. He's an old geezer now. So when we go to play fetch, he'll let me throw it a couple times, and he's like, "Whatever, dude. You want to get like us?" He's like, "Man, I'm done."
I've been there. Done that.
Exactly. I would go on the porch and sit a while. You can go chase the ball.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got to tell the joke. Ready?
Go ahead.
What do you get when you cross a bulldog with a Shih Tzu?
What?
Go ahead, Dave. Really? You too? Come on.
All right. Nope. You gotta cue us in.
A bullshit. Come on, guys. What are you doing?
Jeez. Well, I was going down like a growling shit, something like that. It's like
I was waiting to be enlightened.
Anyway.
That was totally brilliant, Dave. That was totally brilliant.
There you go. All right. That's my joke of the day.
All right. I'm glad that's over.
A risque dad joke. I like it.
I am too. Oh. So what do you got for us, Bill? Ask us anything you want.
Well, thank you guys for
about, man.
Thank you guys for letting me do this. This is fun.
We're happy to have you, man.
It's funny. You kind of lose. We get so locked into our lives, you kind of lose track of where people are in our history. But you guys, it was good. It was good growing up with you guys. It was good to be in the high school with you guys because people can be so ugly. And I think Dave was Seymour was always the quiet one. You always had to worry about him being like the Unabomber.
You could seriously just misinterpret that guy right there.
I'd go with Unabomber.
I always found him really quiet. But then I should have realized just looking at his eyes, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm quiet. I'm quiet."
Yeah, he was so quiet.
Hey, Dave, you were not a big mouth either. I mean, I think that's maybe why we got along. Is that we just kind of.
I would agree with that.
I think we tried to stay, in our staying in our lane. Kind of that's what we did.
Yeah, stay in our lane. Yeah.
Now
that's the troublemaker right there.
Bill, you clearly must not have been in any of the classes I was in. You remember any? Did you go to any?
I don't know.
Huh?
I don't know, Dave, but I'm sure you were an exceptional student, Mr. Seymour.
I snuck by. No, I had like the world record for detentions in biology class.
Who was the teacher?
Mimi Lieberman. I was in there like 3 times a week sometimes. So
I never knew that. I always thought you were the quiet intellectual type.
No.
Wow.
Actually, I like to think I remember
in trouble.
Cosmo Vieni.
Yeah.
I got a great Cosmo Vieni story. Go ahead.
Well, do you remember we had a kid in our class, Adrian something or other, and he was mouthing off to Cosmo.
Yeah.
And Cosmo decided he got him to stand next to the chalkboard with a metal edge, and he made the guy like rest his forehead in a position where like he was being frisked. So he had to rest his forehead on this bar for like a half an hour. He had a dent on his head for like 2 days.
I was going to say that would put a dent in your head for like.
And he relished the kid's dent. Nowadays you'd be in prison, but yeah, it was pretty funny.
I seem to remember Vieni hitting somebody at one point.
He hit me.
I mean, like outright hit him.
That would not be.
My Vieni story was when he taught 8th grade health. 8th grade, I think, was health.
I can't remember.
8th grade health. I had him early in our high school years. I was sitting there. We're having a test. Heads down. We're doing a quiz. I looked up at the clock. That's all I did was look up at the clock, and he just knocked me completely out of my chair.
Holy shit!
Everything on my desk went flying.
Like a backhand?
I like bounced off the student next to me.
Really?
Yeah.
Anger management. Yeah.
And also, Mr. Vieni, in C13, I was sitting next to Joel Bender, and I don't remember what I was doing then either. All of a sudden, I was flipping through some papers, and I was organizing my notebook, and he just yelled, "Jackson!" And I just, shit just went everywhere.
It looked like he hit a bird, right? Poof.
I mean, he just started yelling, just yelling at me. I'm doing this number, trying to get
That's so funny. I just remember once in his health class, we were watching I think it was one of those Be Safe or Die movies or whatever. It was like, I think maybe it was a driver safety thing. I can't remember if it was I guess it was his class. And Jeff Horton was sitting next to me, and Jeff Horton didn't like blood.
Oh, he was looking at the ground.
Yeah, and he's sitting in the chair, and also you could hear Jeff sliding out of his chair.
Yeah. He was going, I think that was Driver Ed, because they used to show those
Mechanized Death.
They were the Ohio State Trooper.
That's right.
Crash videos.
I just remember his head hitting the ground, but it was just because all of a sudden he was there and then he was not.
Yes. I seem to remember that as well.
Wow.
Yep.
Well, we're glad to have you on, Bill, man. It was great to catch up and great to get you on here, man.
But it's nice. It's nice to see home again. I know we're not there anymore, but it feels like it.
Yeah.
Well, it is nice that just sort of go back and you have this common history with everybody, right?
Yeah.
And it's you sort of pick up where you left off, if you will.
Well, I think that's what I like about that's what I like about you guys. It's like we pick up. It's not like we've lost a lot. I mean, we've lived our lives. We've had families, we've had careers, and all this other stuff. But we're the same people.
Yeah. No, I would absolutely agree with that. Absolutely.
Yeah. For better or worse, we're the same people.
Yep. No.
So.
Yep. You got the Hartford representation, the Freeville representation, and the Dryden representation.
And the Dryden, right? the suburban Dryden contingent.
Shelter. Yeah. Right.
All right.
Well,
it's good to see you, old friend. It's great to see you, man.
You too. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks for playing along tonight.
All right.
Well, thanks both of you guys. I love it. Love you guys.
Hug for me. Give your family a hug for me, man.
I will. Love you guys.
All right. Love you too, Bill. You take care, brother.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Wow. Give them.
Got a feedback loop. Makeup. All right.
Yep.
Dave.
Yo.
Does that mean you're going to be able to compete in transgender sports because now you have bifocals?
He's an elderly Shih Tzu.
Exactly, and he's actually coming over for a play date on Friday. His mom.
Okay, so I got to tell the joke. Ready?
Go ahead.
What do you get when you cross a bulldog with a Shih Tzu?
What?
Go ahead, Dave. Really? You too? Come on.
All right. Nope. You gotta cue us in.
A bullshit. Come on, guys. What are you doing?
Jeez. Well, I was going down like a growling shit, something like that. It's like